Good morning, everybody. How are you? Happy half term. Oh. How is everybody this morning? Welcome to the weekly Casper Live catch-up. My name's Helen and I'm the proud CEO of Casper. Some of you will have known me for a long time, but hopefully we'll have some new visitors today. Hopefully I've got a very special guest coming on today, or hopefully I have more than one very special guest coming on, but I'm hoping that our Chair of Trustees is going to come on and join me in a minute, Caroline. I am going to talk you through all of the incredible things that we've been up to and what's going on for the end of October and November. It's Halloween. We've got a Halloween extravaganza on Sunday. And obviously take any of your questions about Casper, about autism, about what we might be able to do to support you guys, or generally just have a chat. So I'll wait for a few more people to join. And you also have to excuse any noises going on in my house because everybody is, no, it's fine, carry on, people. Everybody's off school, everybody's off work, we've just moved house. I wouldn't say it's carnage, it's actually quite calm now, but yes, as we know, working from home during school holidays is an interesting one. Morning. How are we all? Oh, wow. Well, I hope you all received the Casper weekly newsletter this morning. I've just read the first line. Hope you're all enjoying half term. We can't believe we're now on the countdown to Christmas. Christmas. Morning, Rosie. How are you? How's your lovely boy? Right, talking of half term, we have had so much going on this week, as usual. I mean, you know, we had Parents Walk on Sunday. We had Casper Seniors all day at the Link on Tuesday. We've had pottery sessions at Emma's Pottery Parlour in West Wickham for all age groups. Oh, that's good, Rosie. Oh, he's so gorgeous. They just grow up so quick, don't they? Casper Tots suddenly become Casper Juniors and then suddenly they're working for Casper. Doesn't take long. Yeah, so we've had parent support. Oh, actually, Jess is normally on here. I saw a lovely picture of some of our parents last night at Wetherspoons, enjoying their little break with Casper. I'm hoping nobody had too much of a sore head this morning. We obviously have had our cafe open throughout half term and it will continue to be open Monday to Friday, 8:30 to 2:30. Hopefully at some point we'll be able to extend that, the opening hours, because the food is incredible, the service is amazing, and the vibe in there is really warm and welcoming, thanks to Naomi and her team. So the rest of this week we have got, well, I mean, obviously the key, most important thing this weekend is the Halloween Trail at Frylands Woods. Who's booked? It's going to be a lot of fun. So basically, you go to Frylands Scout Camp, all outside, COVID safe, and exciting. And you go on a trail up through the woods, and there'll be some tricks, there'll be some magic, there'll be something a little bit scary. Not too scary because it's for all ages, and I'm sure there'll be some sweets as well, some treats and some tricks. So our lovely Liz, Casper Liz, has been running this, has been organising it. She's been the force behind it, and I know that she's up there on Saturday setting up. If there's anyone out there who would like to volunteer to help her set up, that would be incredible, because we are so busy, let's just say, that we're all spread quite thinly at the moment. So if anyone's around to help Liz set up at Frylands Scout Camp on Saturday for the Halloween trail, that would be incredible. Just get in touch. Okay, this is a good one. So Halloween with your children, autistic children, do you take them out? Do they dress up? Do you go trick-or-treating? We've just added into the newsletter a little list of things of please remember, which you should share on Facebook or elsewhere. Be kind, be patient. I mean, that's just what we should be doing all the time, right, with everyone. So shouldn't be a problem. But sometimes people aren't kind and aren't patient. So these some little tips for people. The child who isn't wearing a costume might have sensory processing disorder or autism. The child grabbing more than one sweet may have poor fine motor skills. Or I would add to that, lack of social awareness. So they may not understand that it's actually not appropriate to grab a whole handful. The child who does not say trick or treat or thank you may be pre-verbal. So they may not use language, or they may be non-verbal. They may not use spoken language as their way to communicate, which is okay, right? So be kind. The child who looks disappointed when they see your bowl may have an allergy. It's an interesting one. And so maybe just have a range of things to give out. I'm pretty sure I've not heard of an allergy to Haribo, though, but there might be allergy to gelatin. A person who looks too old to be trick-or-treating might be developmentally delayed. So we've got plenty of young people at Casper who love dressing up, love Halloween, love to go trick-or-treating, but they might be 6 foot tall, right? So don't judge, be kind, be patient. That's our message this Halloween. And I know that it's not a message that I need to be sending to any of our lovely Casper peeps on here, because you already do that. Oh, I've lost my mind. No, I've lost my weekly newsletter. Okay, so that's a biggie. Halloween Trail. I look forward to hearing all about it. Hi, Rebecca. How are you? So we've got the Halloween Trail. We also, before we even get to the Halloween Trail, hold on a minute. Hold up. On Thursday evening, tomorrow, we are all at the Bull's Head for our annual Sticklebacks gig, which is always just the best night. If you like music, you like dancing, you like being with other people, you like Casper, come along. It's at the Bull's Head in Chislehurst. And the incredible band of Sticklebacks, who have supported us for years and years and years, and they play loads of classics to dance to, will be there for the gig. There's a bar. Everybody's welcome, all ages, children, young people, adults, elderly folk, everybody are welcome on the dance floor, or there's loads of tables. You don't have to get up and dance, no pressure. And the bar takes card only, just so you know. So the bar there is, oh yes, Becky, of course you can bring the kids. Absolutely. I mean, yes, of course, it's Casper. It's a Casper gig. You can bring the kids. There's always really fun stuff. So I'm really hoping that Michael does this, but our lovely Michael Barton, who is becoming quite well known in the country and possibly abroad for his speeches about being autistic, presentations and advice and guidance, kind of from the horse's mouth. He plays lots of instruments. I think in the Sticklebacks, he mostly plays the keyboard, but he plays lots of instruments. He plays the guitar, he plays all sorts of different things. Oh, and the washboard. He plays the washboard. But the thing that we all love watching him do, and it never gets old, is when he plays the spoons. I mean, that is just a sight to behold. So I'm hoping tomorrow night, Michael's going to give us all a good old spoon fest and play the spoons for us, because it's just brilliant to watch. And if you don't know Michael Barton, he was a Casper member, diagnosed autistic, quite a young age, and he's had the most incredible journey. He came with us on many residentials and, spent a lot of time with Casper, and then went off into the world and has become very successful in many ways. And he is one of our patrons. And he also plays in the Sticklebacks with his mum, Delia, who's on drums. She's a force to be reckoned with. His dad, Andy, his sister sometimes plays, and they also have a couple of other people that play various different instruments. So it's a family band, and it's a Casper family band, and they've always supported Casper. So please come down to the Bull's Head tomorrow night, 7 till 10 p.m. There's a raffle. Yeah, it's all sorts of fun anyway. And not only do we get treated to the Sticklebacks, we also are going to have a bit of an open mic for some of our, I won't say necessarily all young people, because some of our young people are, quite old. And they can get on there and sing if they would like to, or we've had somebody doing stand-up there before. So Casper Lucy's running the night. I will be there, but I'll be there with my family. on the dance floor, hopefully. So hopefully we will see you there. Don't forget that the bar is card only. So phone or card, no cash. However, you might need cash because, well, you definitely will need to bring cash because there's a raffle and there's also the entrance fee. If you are a member, all our members, like the children, young people, adult members are free. But for anyone else, it's £5 on the door. So it is a fundraiser as well as a brilliant Casper night. So members are free. And anyone else, non-members, £5 on the door. Okay, so that is tomorrow night. Hopefully we will see you there. Bull's Head, Chislehurst, band night. Come, have fun. Okay, next big event after that is obviously the Halloween Trail. And then after that, it is the Casper Ball. Oh, yay, Caroline's in. The Casper Ball, our annual fundraising event, is at Oakley House this year. And if you haven't got your tickets, they have almost sold out, and we've got a capacity of 300. So there is a lot of folks coming to the Casper Ball this year. And it's always the most incredible evening. Black tie, so you can just really go to town, dress up. Well, you don't have to dress up if you don't want it, but most people do tend to take it as a good opportunity. And after a couple of years of not going out, it's a good opportunity to get your glad rags on. Live music, auction, presentations about Casper and the wonderful work that we're doing, and just being in the presence of the whole Casper community, from people that have never been to a Casper event before, to people that are working for Casper, to trustees, to patrons, to, people that have just about heard of Casper and want a really good night out. So come to the Casper Ball. That is on the 20th of November, and it's at Oakley House. If you want to ask us about any of these events, or if you want to contact us about anything, I'm just putting in the chat, contact us at casperbromley.org.uk. Just send us any email to that and our lovely Liz will send you to the right place. So earlier on, I did say that hopefully we're going to be having a special guest on today, which is very exciting. Now, this lady has been involved with Casper. She can tell her story, but for many, many years. And she's been through a lot of what you guys have been through, some of you young parents with younger children, and she's out the other side, but she's got good stories. So I'm going to introduce our wonderful Caroline Stevenson, who is our Chair of Trustees. Caroline, you ready to come in? Yay!
Good morning, everybody.
Morning, Caroline. How are you?
Sorry, I can't hear you, Helen.
Oh, well, I can hear myself. Can you not hear me at all?
I can't hear.
Oh, no. Oh, can everyone else hear me? Anyone else that's on? There's no reason why. It must be your computer, Caroline. It must be I'm just telling her, it must be your device, Caroline. She might have to go back out and come back in again. No. I don't know why she wouldn't be able to hear me. Edit mic settings. Oh no.
Can you hear me, Helen?
Yeah. I don't know if you can read the chat. Right, I might have to kick her out and get her back in again. Oh no.
I'll leave and come back in.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, that's a shame. Anyway. So whilst Caroline's just trying to work that out, we are still recruiting for trustees for Casper. We have recently recruited 3 new trustees, which is absolutely incredible, which takes our board to about 9. And I don't know if any of you guys know, what the job of a trustee of a charity is, but it is a voluntary post, and you are basically in charge of the charity. So the board of trustees sits above me. I'm the first officer, obviously as chief executive officer, first paid officer of the charity. But above me, there is a board of trustees, and their job is to govern the work of the charity and make sure that we're meeting all of our legal requirements, etc. And it is a very rewarding job. I do it for Bromley and Croydon Women's Aid and for Bromley Children and Families Voluntary Sector Forum. I'm a trustee, and it is brilliant to be able to support the workers within an organisation. So we are looking for people with HR experience, finance experience, safeguarding experience, just maybe even charity experience of your own. So we are still recruiting for trustees. So if you're interested, do get in contact with us, because we can't move the charity forward without good governance, right? So I work in collaboration with the trustees to make the strategic decisions for CASPA, which take us forwards. So if you want to be involved on that level, please do contact us. I mean, you can actually always just contact me, and that's helen@casperbromley.org.uk as well. But I want to hear from some of you guys. How have you been doing? What have you been up to? Are your kids currently at CASPA? I think we've got juniors day today, right? Caroline's in, but it says device is not connected. I don't know that. Can you hear me now, Caroline? But you can hear me on the live, right, rather than through your device. Okay, I'm going to add you back in. Hi, Caroline.
Hi, I can hear you.
Yay! Okay, brilliant. I don't know what that was, but
no idea.
I could hear you, and I was just talking to you, talking rubbish. Okay, yes, welcome, Caroline. Welcome to our live.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
That's a pleasure. It's so lovely to have a trustee on, So I think sometimes in the charity world, the trustees kind of are slightly hidden. People don't get to see them. So it's really nice to have you kind of public facing. It's lovely. And you have a very rich story and a very rich history with Casper, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So, do you want to kind of tell us about your story with Casper?
Okay. So when my son was 14, we basically tried every activity going and no success really. So I sort of met with a lot of, a few parents. There was, at that time, we had 2 different groups of parents meeting, and we, in our group, which was the 14 plus group, we sort of decided that actually, why don't we just set up sort of a group, like find a room and actually just start a little social group for them. And we then spoke with the other parents, and for the I think they're all secondary age, so sort of 11 plus. And we sort of got together and we decided to set up a group. So I was sort of I wasn't working at the time, so I was able to then try and link up with people. So Bromley Autistic Trust, who were Burgess Autistic Trust, they connected me with a volunteer who was our incredible Bernie. And I also then connected with a lady called Sally, who helped me source a room. And we initially started at the studio in Beckenham, which is called something different now, I believe. And we had a basement room, which wasn't ideal because we had some young people who actually couldn't access that room because of, it was a little bit dark, and yeah, they just couldn't access it. So during that first term, we decided that wasn't really suitable. So then I linked up with I sort of went out and just thought, well, where can we get a room? And somebody told me about a church in Bromley. And I spoke with the vicar there, and they had a hall, and then they had a room that was upstairs that was ideal for parents, so they could drop the children off in the hall, and then go upstairs and meet, have coffee, a cup of tea or whatever, and have just their own sort of social time together. Which going back, we're going back now, 19 years. Yeah. Autism wasn't that well known at that time. My son had only been diagnosed 5 years because nobody, although I had started to read about it in that Daily Mail paper, I started reading about but that was the great source of information for me, was that paper, because they were highlighting autism. And I spoke to my GP. They said, no, it's not autism, and I've had quite a few conversations about that. And it wasn't until he was 7 that they started to actually think, oh, maybe. And it took 2 years then to get a diagnosis. So obviously, so going back to sort of Casper, we sort of had the hall in the church, and that was fantastic because it did mean you know, parents can also meet with other parents with children with the similar difficulties. And for us as parents, you know, I didn't know any parent until James had his diagnosis. And then we met with other parents through Bromley Autistic Trust at that point. So some of those parents were also part of, you know, so it wasn't just me, there was other parents also involved in all of this. I was just able to go out and sort of connect with people and actually try and get like venues. Bernie was fantastic. You know, we had
we've all learned so much from Bernie. I learned so much from Bernie.
Yeah, so we had 2 groups going. So I facilitated with Bernie the younger group because my son wouldn't have me in the older group at that time.
Cramping your style.
Exactly. So and then we had one of the parents, Richard, who facilitated with Bernie the older group. So and then we carried that on for another term, I think, maybe longer. I can't actually remember how long that went on for. Maybe, no, I think it was a year, just over a year. And then we decided actually that the venue probably wasn't really suitable because they wanted to play football. They had low lights. It was like just become a little bit more difficult to run the activities we wanted to run in it. And although at that point we didn't know where we could go, but I then started to think, well, actually we need other people to help us run Casper. So I went to the youth service, and initially we had a youth worker who came and helped us at the church. And then they started to ask whether would we like to use the youth club venue. And that's how we then made links in with the youth club, with Bromley Youth Service.
Yeah.
Because we started to use the Phoenix Youth Centre. And then
Down Children's Centre, right?
Yeah. And during this time, so when we was in the church, we met Helen. So Helen came in and did some drama. So that was how we met Helen. So Helen has sort of evolved as Casper. So yeah, Helen's sort of roles have changed over the years. So Helen started to do more with the activities. Then Miranda came in to then support do the drama, and it's just snowballed. And then gradually, you know, through the youth service, we met Sarah,
best youth worker of all time ever I've ever met.
And Zoe actually came initially when we first started at the youth centre. She came and did some trampolining. So that's how.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, and then Casper Dan obviously as well was doing that.
We met Dan through connecting with Bromley My Time. So trying to find somebody who could actually deliver the football better than I could. What? So yeah, gradually, to be honest, it's just evolved, hasn't it? And actually,
it totally is. And I think the essence of that has just completely continued, right? Yeah. So just this idea, like you had, of like, how can we get a space? How can we make this happen? Who do we need to do it? Who can we connect together? You know, how can we connect? That's like something that was kind of imbued and injected into Casper when it was really tiny. Because when I came, there were like 10 families, right? Something like that. And now we've got over 500 families.
Yeah, it's grown massively. And that just shows, you know, the need, because we had more than 10 families who wanted to join, but the young people were very resistant. So, you know, there were many, many more families, but because of the age of the young people, they couldn't access it because they found they just found it too difficult to access. So we knew that there was, you know, there would be, you know, there was a need for it. Yeah, we knew that from our own personal experiences that there is that need for it.
But the thing, Caroline, hundreds of people have the personal experience, and it seems like it seems so simple, right, as a concept, but it's also genius. Just get together. But it needs people like you to make it happen, to just go, hang on a minute, why am I waiting for someone else to provide this?
We paid
unless I do it.
Yeah, we paid for it. So we paid, I think it was £10 a week.
Which is pretty much what everyone still pays now. No, even less. I pay $7.50 for my son to go to Casper Seniors per session.
Yeah. So we were paying £10. That was to cover the venue, to cover the venue.
Brilliant idea.
And then we obviously spent more money because we bought, you know, you buy the refreshments. But so we started, but then we actively went out. So I actively connected with people I knew. And one of those, was somebody who worked at Burgess Autistic Trust, who was linked to a group that funded, so did fund, provided funding. So we then did a funding application just to see if we can get some funding, and that was the start of it. And then Beckenham Rotary Club, they were the first term. One of the parents had connected with them. They really took on board what we were doing, and there have been a massive support ever since.
They still are. Beckenham Rotary still support us.
And then throughout the years, I did with one of the other parents, we did a talk at Bromley Rotary, and that's how the Chessington trip started. And they've been again a massive support. It's just having those people who really take on what you're doing and actually really appreciate what you're doing and understand what you're doing and know and realize the reason why you're doing it. So it's not about we're doing this because we just felt like it. Actually did it because we had to do it. There was a need for it. Otherwise, a lot of young people, adults now, would be probably in their room.
Oh gosh, I mean, all you've got to do is read and hear the testimonies from our members. There are adult members now that have been with us since you started, Casper, 15, 18 years. And they have all testified that they wouldn't be the person that they are now. They wouldn't have the confidence. They wouldn't have had, that's what I say to people when they join. It's a lifelong intervention, right? It's not an intervention. It's actually a community. And that's what you talked about as well. I think that's Sarah that's written The Power of Connection. She's probably watching. Morning, Sarah. She's on holiday, but, can't keep away from Casper. It's the power of connection, but it's the power of community. It's like you started something which Jason recently, one of our other trustees, said Casper doesn't necessarily provide technical support, right? So if you want to get an EHC plan or if you want to get your benefit form or whatever, there are places that would do that. But Casper provides moral support. And it's so powerful. It's so powerful. And Sarah, I think, has just written, if this is Sarah, some of those young people that started then who tell us that they wouldn't be the people that they were without Casper, without that community, are now working for Casper.
Yeah.
We've got 10 probably, just off the top of my head, people that have been Casper members that are now paid staff, and many more that are volunteers, like in the cafe, etc. And then we've got other adults joining now, one of whom has just become a trustee, who said, I just wish I had Casper. I can't believe I found them now at the age of 25, 30, 35.
At least they can find it.
That's why we needed to extend into adult services.
Yeah, and that's the whole point of Casper, because that was our vision anyway, because it wasn't just about, we get to 18 and then that's it. How can you support somebody until 18 and then say sorry, no longer? So it had to evolve. But obviously starting out, that they were still children, classified as children. But obviously now, 19 years later, they're obviously not children anymore.
No, exactly. And they're perfectly capable of running the organisation. I mean, not that I'm going to let them until I retire, but, joking. But no, absolutely. We've got more paid staff that have come through than I've ever known in any organisation, that have come through as young people. Here we go. Look, Ellen has written, diagnosed at 30 earlier this year, and finding Casper has been life-changing. I mean, how does that make you feel, Caroline, after what you've just described, that you started 18 years ago and now look, Helen's just said that.
Yeah, no, I know. As a parent, knowing what my son, has, his journey, and also knowing so many of the other, adults now of Casper and their journeys, it just, I'm just so pleased that actually we're here and able to support, other people, because it's about the community, isn't it? It is the autistic community. That's what it's about. It's just, that connecting, it is really important, and Casper is here because you know, I had a vision, and so did the other parents. But it is also about the people that we connected with. They've helped us to do that. Bromley, Beckenham I keep saying that. Beckenham Rotary Club. They were instrumental in supporting us to become a charity, because we obviously were a voluntary group. But we realised, you know, quite quickly that actually we were moving far too quickly to just stay as a voluntary group. So we had to become a charity. And obviously we didn't really have experience in that. So Beckenham Rotary Club, they really supported us in becoming a charity. So that was 2005. So that was a long time ago as well.
No, it's just gone so quick. And when I first started working, I had one child. Yeah. I had Reese, and he now works for Casper. He works for Casper, runs football on a Saturday with Wahid, and he's 19. Yeah. You remember James Lyle used to remember him. Like Ryan Harley and all the big lads, like James. He was like little Reese, would be running around, and then I gave birth three more times whilst working at Casper.
3 other Casper children.
It just goes so quickly. And now Jonah's found his place, right, at Casper. He's found his place to be. His one place of solace and real friendship, and where he doesn't get told off all the time like he does at school, at Casper Seniors. And I think that's my story with Casper, like your story with Casper. And you are now still the chair of trustees. You know, you've got to probably be on the board forevermore. And it's like, we always say jokingly, once you're in, you're in. But there's no reason to be out. Like, once you're in, you could stay forever. Like, if I step down, or if someone, you know, here we go. Listen to what Jess Church has just said. Did you see that? Don't forget, Shannon wants your job. She's after my job. Casper has given her the confidence to believe she can do anything. I love that. Anyway, we'll give her a couple of years. But, you know, I'd still you'd stay involved. Of course you would. It's your family. It's so interlinked.
It's a passion, isn't it? That's the thing. It does become part of your life. And, and thinking about young people, some young people have left, but then they've come back, haven't they, as well?
Oh, we love it. It's guess who's back? Guess who's back? Yeah. And to come back as workers as well, Ethan. I mean, tomorrow night, I don't know if, I know Dan Short is, I don't know if he's performing tomorrow, but he's definitely performing in Casper's Got Talent in December. And he's a great example, right? He grew up to a certain age. Casper didn't really cater so much for the older ones back then, so they all kind of went off a bit. And then he walks back into the cafe, has this incredible idea about a project. He's now working for us as paid staff. I mean, what a brilliant thing. Oh, look who's here, Caroline. Miranda, saying hello.
Hi, Miranda.
You're a lovely pair. Come on if you want, Miranda. We've only got another 10 minutes or so, but... yeah. Oh, he is at the Bull's Head, Sarah said. So Dan Short will be at the Bull's Head tomorrow night. He's a true Casper legend. Caroline, I'm just going to attend to a couple of these messages. Sorry to interrupt you, but I'm well aware that we had Casper Chloe on, who is our program manager for our Futures program. So Chloe runs all of the over 18 stuff at the moment. I live with Lucy as well. Lucy obviously runs Casper Connect, but Chloe is kind of responsible for the whole of the adult service right now. So she is a very, very key staff member. She sent you some love hearts, or she sent us some love hearts on there. Oh no, it's a different Chloe. Sorry, I've just noticed it's new Chloe. Chloe McMahon, who's also absolutely incredible Casper staff member.
Hi, Chloe.
You will love her, Caroline, when you meet Chloe. Chloe joined us during lockdown and is now, and then through the summer was like key Casper staff member, really gets, you know, Casper. It's like she's been quite key in pushing forward the PRISM program, you know, the LGBTQ plus program, Casper PRISM. So that's great. Hi, Will. Caroline, you know Will, don't you? Who always supported Sticklebacks. Yeah, no, he's going to watch some planes today, he says, with his dad.
Oh, that's good.
Okay. Jane, we know. So we've got we're actually recruiting at the moment for workers. So I love the fact that Jane's saying she can't wait to be part of the team if she's successful. Oh, here we go. Look, Ellen's just said this, which is the lady who said that she was diagnosed at 30. Bumped into some friends this morning who haven't seen me since I started at Casper. They couldn't believe the difference in me. Currently on the way to London with Casper.
Wow, It's fantastic.
Adult London trip. I just love it. And it's like, what better thing to do with our lives than to create a situation which makes other people happier?
Definitely.
I mean, it's like, it's heaven, isn't it? It's just, I mean, it's not always easy, but it's heaven. Miranda can't come on. She's still in her gym jams. Do you know what, Miranda? Good. You're good. You work so hard all the time, and you support your beautiful family and your autistic son, and you deserve to be in your gym jams. I hope you're having a nice builder's cup of tea, or maybe a cheeky early glass of red wine. It's a bit early for that. Miranda, we have amazing staff. Yes, we do. And new Chloe Mack is saying, hello, Caroline. Can't wait to meet you.
Hi, Chloe.
Yeah, so sorry. So Caroline, yes. So you know, there wouldn't be a Casper if it wasn't for you, basically. Which is incredible just to think about, isn't it?
I mean, obviously I did it, you know, selfishly for my son initially, but then he didn't really get that much of benefit from it. But I think after, you know, everyone who joined, just that they were the ones who created that passion in me. You know, it was the people I met who wanted to belong to Casper. You know, that's what's driven me, you know, to it. And then obviously knowing, I just, you know, even through my own work, what I do as a job, I know.
You talk about a little bit what you do, because it's interesting how it's led you to that, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Casper led me to become a teaching assistant, although I was very resistant. Well, my son was
resistant teaching assistant.
Yeah, growing up, because obviously he did have, you know, support assistants. But I did get a job as a teaching assistant, and I loved it, and absolutely really loved it. But then mental health has always been a big part of, you know, so I always want to support mental health, and that led me just to research courses around mental health, which led me on to a training job to become an education mental health practitioner, which is what I currently do. And I work in schools, supporting children and young people, but I work with parents in primary and the young people in secondary. And yeah, it's and just meeting so many children and young people, autistic children and young people, or their parents, you know, and realizing the support that they're lacking in the area I work in, you know, it just makes me sort of think, oh, wouldn't it be great to replicate Casper, you know, where I work as well. So it sort of, you know, led me to really seek out what support is available in their area, in that area, and actually connect those parents to that support. And actually, I have found that there is some support there, which is good. So I'm constantly, and my colleagues constantly, you know, connect parents with that support as well.
Yeah, that's an important part, isn't it?
My job is also signposting. So, you know, we're there to support low to moderate mental health difficulties, but we're also there to signpost as well. We also do a lot of preventative work.
Do we have something similar in Bromley? Is that the Bromley Wire School Service?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
it sounds brilliant what you do.
Yeah. No, it's great, and not all areas have this support, but they're gradually more and more are being set up. So it's like a project the government has set up. So they want to have, I think by 2024, I believe, they want to have 2/3, I think, of. There's a percentage of, I can't remember off the top of my head at this precise moment, but they want to have, I think it's 2/3 of schools to have a mental health support team in them. And hopefully it will be ongoing past that date as well, because you know, it has proven to be, you know, really important.
Well, the thing is, you can't educate unwell children, right? You can't. If a child is caught up in anxiety or anything like that, it's just
it affects their whole life.
Having a school, if you're not addressing that kind of underlying stuff,
and there's a lot of anxiety around school as well. So that's been what's been fantastic about my job and why I'm so passionate about it. But yeah, it's been great move.
Love it, Hannah. And something you mentioned earlier when we were speaking was that you ran a workshop recently called around understanding anxiety for you and your child. Now that sounds like something that we could do with, because it's so interlinked, right? Your anxiety, your child's anxiety. Yeah, I'm sorry, just very quickly, Kerry, do you remember Kerry Hattrill, as in Craig's mum?
I do, yeah. Hi, Kerry.
Just commented that she totally agrees. And I think what she means is about addressing the mental health within schools, not just sort of hammering on the education side.
And these mental health support teams, are fantastic. It's like, I mean, I say that I'm working one, but they have, in the area I work, it was historically, people didn't come forward. But actually, our data show people are coming forward. So that shows having them in schools is how you can make those connections, and actually they feel comfortable enough to seek the support then, which is good.
Yeah, I mean, Miranda's commented there. Yeah, if they can't even get there, you can't teach them, right? And this is the story we were talking about this morning, weren't we, Caroline? The story of children that are emotionally school avoiding. I know we've changed the language now. We're not using school refusing because it makes them sound like they're just really naughty. But emotional school avoidance is rife. I mean, obviously in our world, the autistic world, and neurodiverse children, it's more so. But even
generally, the pandemic has been, a lot to do with that as well.
Yeah.
A lot thinking about children, primary age children, who's now in secondary, potentially year 8 now, haven't really had that transitional year in school. So they're now year 8 having to have that transitional year. And that's, very tough, isn't it?
And hurtling towards GCSEs, right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like, well, Miranda, I don't want to talk too much about Miranda's story or her child, but like she said, she needs that for her son, who is emotionally school avoiding a lot of the time. It's more, it's just so difficult. So she's getting emails from the school saying, we'll put this in place, we'll put this in place. And she's like, but we can't get him in. It's like, that's really nice, but there's something missing, right? It's the connection or the warmth or the humanity, or there's something, which is what Casper does well. Or like sending Sarah out to the car to get the kid in. But, it's missing, isn't it? It's that kind of looking at why a child doesn't want to go and really addressing that and doing everything you possibly can. Because, okay, well, if they're in, then half the battle's won already. That's not the point. The point is, how do we get them? The anxiety builds, doesn't it? It's like something within them builds to the point where they're just like, no, can't do it.
Yeah.
And then you're stuck. It needs more early intervention and prevention. Yeah, I know, this is true. Miranda said can't even get into Casper. Oh yes, but this is a long-term job, Miranda. We'll just wait and see when he's, in your job role later on in life, and we're both sitting having a cup of tea retired. We'll be like, remember the days we couldn't get him in? Okay, so Kerry's saying mistaken as naughty, but deeper emotional issues are going on, and it's not addressed in full capacity. Exactly. And Sarah has just brought in iHeart, which is what I was about to do, because Miranda has recently qualified as an iHeart practitioner. So they're very good link in there, which is why we've invested in iHeart to truly support all. And we're going to be starting our first course in November for 12 years plus. So Caroline, you've kind of heard a little bit about what we've been doing with iHeart, haven't you? It's been quite busy, I know, for both of us. But so, during the first lockdown, we were really looking for something to address the mental well-being of our young people. So we're not saying, we're trying to flip the language again, like we were talking about earlier, flipping language. Instead of kind of saying it's mental ill health or mental, unwellness, actually, we're talking about mental wellness. And what does that mean? And how can we all find it? Do we all have it? And that is the tenets of iHeart, the iHeart principles, right? Is that we are all innately resilient. Every human being on earth is innately resilient. We know this. We watch children and young people coming across on dinghies, and they make a life for themselves, and then they get good jobs. We know that if any of us were in that position, we're all as resilient. But sometimes life gets in the way, or our upbringing, or our conditioning, or abuse, or trauma, or whatever can cover up our resilience and our well-being, right? So iHeart is all about recognizing that we are all innately resilient. we can do this. In Sarah's words, we've got this. It's what Casper has always done with young people and always kind of engendered. But the iHeart principles kind of pull it all together into a program. And so what their concept is that the current mental health system constantly looks at fighting the fires. And by then, as we all know, it's often way too late, right? Not to say it's too late as in catastrophic death situations, but as in it's too late to really, well, CAMHS are oversubscribed. Bromley Wells oversubscribed. Your service is trying to fight fires. But what the iHeart principles do, which is obviously something which you do as well, I know, through workshops and stuff, is prevent the fire ever taking hold. So getting to children and young people when they're not in crisis, when they're just existing, they have good days, bad days. They have good times, bad times. It's okay to feel bad. It's okay to feel sad. It's okay to feel happy. It's like when they're in that kind of mode of learning, then teaching them that, teaching them that they are resilient and how to uncover their well-being. So anyway, I'll go on about iHeart, but you can learn more about it with us. But so what happened was we did 30 of us, staff, Casper staff, did the 11-week initial iHeart kind of introduction to iHeart principles. So that we can kind of keep thinking about it and embedding it in the work that we're doing with young people. Gave us some language to use around well-being and resilience with the young people. And then so Sarah and I then went on to do the facilitator course. So we become certified facilitators, which means we can run and deliver the courses. Of course, we are super busy and we know it needs to happen. And we are going to embed it into our programs, moving forward and into what Casper delivers. And then we put Miranda and Cassie Johnson. Yeah, so Cassie is an ex-member herself in a way. She grew up in Casper, having a brother who was autistic. And they've just certified. They literally just got certified last week. So congratulations to Miranda and Cassie. And now we are all ready to launch. So we're ready to launch the iHeart program at Casper. And Miranda's like, yay, iHeart is amazing. She just put, and it's within us all. So I don't think I've really expressed it very well, but you know that iHeart is something that we've committed to. And it is because of this exact thing in terms of mental well-being. A couple of more other comments, sorry. Rebecca, we're having the same with Gregory at the moment, can't get him into school, even though they're trying to put things in place. Another story, he's only just started school, primary school, very, very young. David Plews. Caroline, David Plews is one of the O2E crew. You know, the incredible funded us over the last few years.
Yeah, fantastic work, isn't it?
And I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to argue with what he said. He said, if anyone can do it, Casper can. You guys are awesome. It is true. And we are excited indeed about the iHeart program starting. So if you have a child who is 12 plus, who you think could do with some resilience and well-being, coaching, fun activities around it, exploring their own anxieties or exploring mental wellness, we will be starting a face-to-face course. We think it'll probably be based in Orpington. Somebody, Sarah or Miranda, might be able to confirm that, in November. So we will be putting out there a parent kind of taster workshop introduction to it. So you don't have to sign up straight away. But yeah, so we're going to be launching our first proper program. It's an 11-week program and they do all kinds of really, really fun activities. Oh yes, Orpington, Miranda said, yeah. So it's going to be based in Orpington. And I think it's going to be on a Wednesday afternoon. So we're hopefully capturing some of those non-school attenders and maybe some of our post-16 as well. So anyway, you will see that. Watch out, Parent Mail, and watch out for all our other forms of communication, because attend the workshop and find out a bit more about it, and then hopefully sign up your child or sign up yourself if you are 14 or over. Okay, sorry, Caroline, I just went into it.
That sounds good though, doesn't it?
Yeah. So, Caroline, so what are you hoping to see? Well, how do you feel about Casper where it is at the moment, knowing your long journey? You know, where would you like to see it go in the next couple of years? What's your kind of vision for Casper?
Yeah, so obviously, my vision has always been the over 18s for a long, long time, and you've just done amazing stuff with that. So obviously, and thinking about the employment, you're addressing that. So that is amazing. That to think that these sort of pie in the sky ideas that I had, many years ago, have come to fruition and actually even exceeded, what I thought, thinking about the cafe as well. Just, it's amazing. And I think also thinking about the pandemic, how you've sort of opened up different ways of connecting, thinking about just doing the Facebook Live and then thinking about all those Zoom meetings that you've had, thinking about the PRISM group. Is that online? Is that like
now? So we've gone face to face on a Tuesday at the Casper Cafe, in Community House. And we do a monthly young people session online because some of those young people came from Scotland or whatever, so to try and keep people connected. We do a monthly parent. Oh, Caroline, the monthly parent one. I mean, if you ever wanted to come on, it's absolutely brilliant. Because we put that out as an Eventbrite, public event. So Miss Kim puts it out on, to the public, and we have parents every month. New parents every month attending who have children that are both autistic and identify as part of the LGBTQ plus community. And it's an area which is very much unattended to in terms of support, because it's a very specific set of conjoining or clashing or, coexisting needs, right? There's lots of organisations out there for people with autistic children. There's lots of organisations out there for people with children that are identifying as part of the LGBTQ plus community. But the two together is a very specific kind of area which parents just want to talk about. They want to hear that they're not alone. Just like you just did at the beginning, we're still doing the same thing.
Yeah, that parent connection is so important, because you do feel alone, and sometimes even family members don't understand, even though they've grown, the child's grown up within the family, I think about extended family members. Sometimes they don't really get it, and they don't even want to get it, so therefore having those other connections with people who do understand you, even thinking about friendships as well, sometimes friends don't always understand that, your child. And it's just about having people who do understand, where you can maybe have a bit of a rant to, or just a sob, or where you can actually just express yourself and how you really feel. And sometimes you do hide that from a family. You don't always want to. You find it difficult sometimes to express that. So just having people that really understand and thinking. Obviously, they're all different. We're not saying that that parent's child is the same as your child, because they're not. They're all individual. They all have, one autistic child is very different from another autistic child. Exactly. But it's about, how it's just about having that understanding about, you do go through something similar, you used to do something, have a similar journey, even the children might be very different, but you do
not necessarily the same. Sorry to interrupt. Like you say, it's similar. It's just that the people within the environment are non-judgmental.
Yeah.
So even if it's a different experience, it's not that's weird, or it's that. And I think actually what's interesting about that is any group of parents could get together at any time, right? You don't need to have somebody facilitating, but what we do is we facilitate it and we set the tone and the environment where it's okay to express something. It's valid to feel something, even if, and especially interestingly in the LGBTQ plus work, of course, is that some people find it hard to accept that their child is exploring their gender, or they're trans, or, and instead of saying, look, if your child says this, then it's definitely this, and you have to do that. It's like, okay, it's valid to feel worried. It's valid for you to feel that. And that's what Casper does. We accept everybody at where they're at. We're not like, you have to think this and you have to think that. No. We have our very strong opinions and views, like we were saying about the autistic community and, ABA and all that kind of stuff. We've got very strong opinions, but we're not going to judge you for yours. We'll start where you're at and then see if we can help you feel better about that, right? And I think that's...
even going back to ABA, that's not to say that, every parent should be against it, in the sense of, we don't, obviously the autistic community are not for it, but actually we wouldn't, we're not there to sort of dictate what they
like to educate.
It's about education. Yeah.
And our ultimate goal at Casper is to advocate for autistic people, right?
Exactly.
And that is what we will do, even if sometimes it upsets non-autistic people. We are going to do that because that is our job, but we try not to upset anyone because we know that everybody is coming from their own place, their own conditioning, their own journey. It's like we're there for everybody. And I think, so that's what I think the power of Casper is. That group of adults today that have gone up to London could go up to London by themselves, right? Of course they could. I mean, they're doing it pretty much. They've got a couple of Casper staff there, but what the power of that is, it's the confidence, it's the love, it's the care, it's the facilitation. It's not like we're grouping them, like treating them like a group of school children on a trip. They're not, they're just socializing. It's lovely, it's fine. But it's that meticulous, gentle facilitation, enabling people to feel accepted and able to take part. And it's an art form. It truly is an art form. Right, there's a few things. I've got the most wonderful person in the waiting room, Caroline. Should we bring her in? She wants to come and say hello. Hello.
Hello. Oh, Caroline. Do you know, I was just thinking when you were talking about way back when my waters broke and I borrowed your knickers.
Oh, yes. Miranda comes in with a good old classic. I know,
so well. And all of those young people, weren't they amazing that day?
Oh,
I'm going to dive off so you two can talk. I'll just be.
Oh, yeah, God,
yeah, we need to explain, don't we?
Ambulance.
Yeah, we need to explain. We were on a trip to France in Normandy, and we were on our way home, and we stopped off, and I can't remember, where did we stop off? I forgot. That's it. We stopped off there, and yes, Miranda was 9 months pregnant, and her waters broke.
8 months.
Oh, 8 months, yeah.
I had 4 weeks to go on the Casper residential, yes, to Normandy.
Yeah, as you do when you're pregnant.
Yeah, but Casper, you just get on and just enjoy yourself, right, and keep going.
That was a day to remember. And so Miranda had to be whisked off in the ambulance to the hospital. And then you had
it was a fire engine, Caroline.
They are because they are medics. But you got a nice escort home, didn't you?
I did. I had with another lovely original Casper parent founder, Steph. Yeah. And it was basically like a glorified taxi. They said it was an ambulance, but I was sitting my bottom was on the front seat, but I was lying back, and Steph was in the back with the paramedic driving us through the tunnel back to Pembury Hospital.
And you made it.
Waiting with the, I don't know, €1,000 in cash. Sorry, I don't know what's going on. There we go. Yes, with the €1,000 in cash. Had to pay him. Yes. Oh,
those were the days.
I know, but how, just listening, to all, how just it's all evolved, and it's just awesome, isn't it? I'm just so glad and pleased and feel lucky that I'm still here and involved with Casper, from those early days, and seeing.
Yeah, we feel lucky as well that you are.
Pardon?
We feel lucky as well that you are involved still.
Just watching, just seeing all the different groups, and just seeing Casper doing what it does brilliantly. Just, you need that, right, we'll do it, and I just love it. It's just wonderful. It's just, and you were saying about the parents, and it's just, the pandemic has allowed that to sort of blossom, and so people are more invested and want to be part. And because parents do need so much support too.
They do.
We both know as parents, however much, at Casper we want to celebrate and enjoy that journey. That it can be hard, and there are hard times and times you feel lonely. So to have all that network around you is amazing. Yeah,
no, it is. It's fantastic.
Yeah, and how long have we been saying we need 18+ staff? We want to help them get to work. We want to have a cafe. We still need our building and a charity shop, and so on and so on.
So if anyone's out there who's got a building,
build us our own purpose-built Casper building. Yeah.
Wouldn't that be fantastic?
So exciting. And iHeart, oh my gosh, I can't tell you, it's brilliant.
Yeah, no, that's great, isn't it?
honestly,
it's amazing.
doing the course and thinking how this is helping me, how much it will help our young people and adults and parents cope with everything life throws at them, and just remembering actually I am okay and I will be okay, and it's all in me. Oh, it's amazing. I'm so excited. My camera's going funny again. I can't find where I'm supposed to be. Okay.
See you.
Thank you so much, guys. Becky's just said, I don't know what I would do without Casper.
Oh, sorry, my washing machine's really noisy. I'll move away.
Yeah, and I think a lot of parents feel like that. I don't know what to do without Casper. A lot of children, young people, and our adult members feel the same. And I know a lot of staff feel the same as well.
Yeah.
I mean, we have green blood, you know. It's like we're so attached to it. But like I said earlier, why wouldn't we be? I mean, it's just a world of compassion and problem solving, you know, just giving solutions.
And it's just, you know, we've onboarded new staff since the pandemic, and oh my gosh, what awesome people. Not that we've always had awesome staff. We've been there. But just what's coming out, and whether it's the pandemic that's helping people see things in a different way, I don't know. But it really, you know, yesterday I was doing the seniors at the link, and just watching the staff, you know, mostly pretty new staff, just getting involved. Nothing's too difficult, moving where they were needed, you know, going with what the children wanted or needed. It was just beautiful. You know, it was really, really heart bursting with pride. Because there are challenges. It's not an easy job.
Oh, no, it really isn't. No, that's what I just was saying. It's an art form. It is an art form. I've always described it as it's like being a ninja, isn't it? So on the top surface, you're playing, you're messing around, you're engaging, but underneath, you're constantly just like ready to respond any time to whatever else is going on around you. It's like, and I think the staff team, as we know, and this is what I always write in funding applications. What I always say, they are our greatest asset. We don't have a posh building. Give us a building, someone. We don't have, you know, really great. I mean, what is the situation at the Link Youth Centre? We have a container, like a shipping container outside with all of our gear in. It is damp. It has mice sometimes. The staff have to walk out in the rain, the snow, and the cold and the wet to go and get the equipment to bring it in, because we don't have a cupboard at the centre. You know, what the staff actually have to deal with to even make that magic happen is no small feat.
No.
But the high quality of interaction between the staff and the children, the young people and the parents, that's the magic. It's the moment. It's the moment of interaction.
Sonia, we've been so lucky.
Oh, no, I was just say, I've just remembered we still need to put the matting down so we don't all slip over.
Oh, yeah, Casper Dan donated me that. He got it on one of his jobs. You know, he's gardening. He's running a gardening business. He found it on one of his jobs, I think. So he gave it to me. Yeah. I'm sorry, just Kerry saying the staff are amazing. Without their support back in the day, we wouldn't be where we are now.
I was saying we've been so lucky with the staff, because every member over the years has just been amazing.
I don't think it's luck, Caroline. I think it's by design. I think it's what you engender, right? It's the sense of what you engender. We always, from the moment that what people see the work that we do is important. It's not babysitting. It's not standing around with your phone whilst the kids are playing. So from the very moment that we are somewhere, people look at Casper staff and you see that they're working. They are working. They are engaging. That's what we're there for. We're not just babysitting. So I think it's actually what we give off, right? It's the energy. You know, you attract the people, you attract energies that are similar. And so when staff then come in, then when they get inducted, and then when they watch Miranda at work, and they watch Zoe at work, and they watch Sarah at work, and you then learn, actually, this is how it is. This is how it should.
And it's infectious, isn't it? It's infectious. It like just grows, doesn't it? And
yeah. And even when you're interviewing
your child, as a parent, your child is the most important thing, right? So when you go to Casper and you realise that actually to the staff, though they're not their children, they are so important to staff, and their safety, happiness and well-being is the most important thing. And that's what I think you feel, or I feel, you know, just like those kids come in the door, I just want to cuddle them all. I wouldn't, because I know
they're not allowed. But yeah, no, exactly that, Miranda. It's like, but I love them. I fell in love with them the first time I ever met your group, Caroline, in 2004, 5, whenever it was that I came to do drama. I had only ever done theatre before with young offenders, teenage parents, refugees. Miranda working together on loads of projects. We've met hundreds of people, loads of whom were autistic, I'm sure. But it wasn't, like you said, 19 years ago, really wasn't like the buzzword, the concept wasn't out there like it is now, all the understanding and awareness. And so I hadn't even known that I'd not met anyone. I didn't even know that I'd met someone with autism, whatever, So when I sat down there and started doing the drama work with them, and the personalities, I was just like, I actually fell in love with them all. And then the humour and the brilliance, but the sad kind of layering in of the pain. How they could be so brilliant, so beautiful, so close to being mainstream, but so much pain, so much isolation, so much bullying, so much mental health, so much anxiety, so much fear, so much, hang on a minute, we can do something about that. That was my moment of I can do something about this. I could definitely make their life better, even if they think I'm annoying. I can, that was it. That's it, isn't it, Miranda? That's the moment of like, but they're just beautiful little humans. Like, why would you not want to accept them and enable them to feel good about themselves? And unfortunately, that doesn't happen elsewhere, like at school or even sometimes in families or wherever, wherever else the other environments, in shops, wherever else they are. And we don't understand that. Because that is our life, right? That is our passion, to just make people feel okay.
Yeah. I was going to say that the one bit of luck then that I will say we had was the parent working with your mum in the pharmacy, and your mum mentioning you doing drama. That was the one bit of luck that we had, because otherwise we wouldn't have met you.
That is true. That is true. And then we wouldn't have met Miranda, and then you wouldn't have. Yeah. I'm sure it would be incredible. I'm sure it would still be amazing because it had you guys pushing it forward. But yeah,
it was meant to be.
It changed my life. Right? Totally changed my life to become part. Okay, so Rebecca says Ida says hello. Hi, Ida.
Hi, Ida.
Right, we've gone 7 minutes over time. We all have lots of work to do, I'm sure. And Caroline, I hope you have a lovely lunch with your friend. Is there anything? Yeah, is there anything that you would like to say or to round up today, Caroline?
I just thought I'm still amazed that every day, every time I hear like your report, when you report back and you say what you've been doing, it's like it still amazes me that. It's not just staying static. It's like still growing and evolving, and the vision. Like just thinking about Sarah, Sarah's vision is like amazing. Thinking about all of those, like the activity. Thinking about the activity program she put on.
That's what Sarah is brilliant at. She feels the energy of all the people that are here, whether it's a 4-year-old or an adult or a parent, a grandparent. She thinks, what do they need us to do? Right, there's the program. Boom. Yeah. Like just lays it out in front.
How does Sarah like just come up with all these great sort of ideas and it's just, I think, I'm just still amazed, and I know that there's still that journey. We know that there's still that journey to continue, and and to think we started at secondary age, and now to think that we now start when they're newly born, really.
Babies, they are the top.
So that is just because I always thought, it's great that we can do what we do with secondary, but actually, if we can actually work with young people when they're very little and help them to develop, their well-being and, their life skills and things, that can only benefit them when they go to secondary, and obviously there will be some who are still, struggling, but it's about trying to identify those struggles as well, isn't it, in them? And hopefully if we can do that from a very young age, the hope is that actually they can grow into sort of teenagers and hopefully not have the difficulties that a lot of the teenagers who've gone before them, have had.
Yeah,
that's my sort of dream, that actually that we can change their lives, you know, for the better, you know, emotionally. And the problem, obviously, that has to, the other work that has to go alongside that is obviously the awareness, understanding, you know, within the communities, that, you know, getting it out into the community, into schools, you know, you know, into thinking about even the young people. They need to be more tolerant of, you know, people's differences. And who's saying that autism, you know, if you're autistic, that you're the different one, you know? That's just you know, a society saying that, you know.
Definitely.
And that's where I think the narrative has to change as well.
Totally right.
And I think it is about education, and it's about, hopefully, you know, that hopefully can happen if, you know, we can maybe do more things with schools as well.
Yeah. Right.
You know, but again, that's another project, isn't it? You know, again,
we're keeping forward.
Yeah. But it is about that. That is about, I think, just having that vision again. It's all about vision, isn't it? And about what else can we do? Yeah, we're doing this right, but actually we need to be thinking, you know, how can we make it even better, you know, moving forward.
Indeed.
And for the new generation, we should always be thinking about the new generation as well as
the new generation are running Casper. Very soon. I mean, we've already got the Discord program, which is pretty much being run by our ex-members.
Yeah, and we've always spoke about that, haven't we? Because Casper needs to be autistic led. Yeah. So and that's what we sort of aim for. And, you know, and obviously it wasn't to start with, you know, it had to be parent led to start with. And although we are known as like Casper, like the Children on the Autistic Parent Association, that was just so we could get an acronym, you know.
But we never lose, because it's just Casper, right? It's like,
yeah, and it's Casper now. And the point is, you know, had to start somewhere, but actually now we need it to be autistic led, because you know, that's the whole point of it.
Okay, collaboration with our community. Cool. Right, we are well over time now, ladies, so I'm going to have to close it down, but hopefully, Caroline, you can come back on again in a couple of months. And you've been an amazing guest to have on our live this morning, so thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Really nice to be here. Yeah, sorry.
That's okay.
Thank you, Miranda. You are incredible. Miranda is one of our absolutely core, incredible staff that we could not do without. We love you.
And thanks for everybody who's sort of joined us as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We've had lots of people in and out, so thank you. Right, have a lovely day, everybody. Have a lovely week. See you at the Bull's Head tomorrow night, hopefully. See you at the Halloween event on Sunday. See you at the Casper Ball, and see you at all the different clubs and activities in between. Take care, guys.
Take care.
Bye.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.